My dress is not a yes. The tight dress clinging to my body is not an invitation, a provocation, an indication. My tight dress is not an unspoken yes. My tight dress declares the confidence that I have in my body and the way that I move in it, a testament to the comfort that I feel in my own skin. My tight dress celebrates the strength of my legs, the hug of my hips, and the arc of my back. My tight dress is not a white flag surrendering my body to society, but a battle cry insisting that I am strong, and I'm confident, and I'm hot. When I spoke these words at Slutwalk Tampa, no amount of applause would have made me feel at peace with what I was saying. I wasn't lying. I meant it. I really, really meant it, but I didn't believe it. I was speaking in front of at least 500 people who clearly supported me, judging by their woohoos and hell yes as I was talking. I went on to discuss the message of Slutwalk, about how a person should never be blamed for their sexual assault. Every time, and my speech is about imperfection, and I imperfectly put my cards out of order. Every time that a woman came up to me and thanked me for sharing my story, thanked me for giving them the courage to open up about their own assault, thanked me for being so brave, I was happy for them, genuinely excited that they had been liberated, nonetheless by something I had done, something I had said. But every time I was thanked, I just felt worse and worse about myself, and I had no idea why. My first year of college, I was sexually assaulted, and I spent the next year in denial, never dealing with it, never accepting what happened to me. You have to understand, it was really hard. I was the golden child in high school. I was student body president, I was on homecoming court, I was the first person from my school to make it to the state thespian competition. People came to me for advice, and I was totally glad to help them, but I never asked for theirs in return. I did not want people to think I was flawed, so I simply acted like I wasn't. I was too scared to admit my imperfections to others, so I didn't. And as you can probably believe, I saw being raped as a huge imperfection. Since I couldn't really pretend that my assault didn't happen, I just pretended that it didn't affect me. Instead, I skipped right ahead to being a full-fledged activist with my fist in the air. Whatever we wear, wherever we go, yes means yes, no means no. I had this perfect little bubble of positivity and enthusiasm just expanding around me every time that I got another person to agree to attend Slutwalk. Slutwalk Tampa was turning into a pretty big deal. And I was up on my soapbox, and I felt like I was doing something important. I was making a big difference. And then a few days after the walk, my panic attacks returned. And then a few days after that, my nightmares. And this is when I finally came to the self-realization that ultimately it didn't matter how many people I spread the message of Slutwalk to, because I didn't really believe it myself. I told other sexual assault survivors that it wasn't their fault. They were not to blame. I urged each man and each woman that came to me to seek therapy, to pursue lawsuits against their offenders, all the while thinking deep down that what happened to me was ultimately my fault. All the while completely in denial that I needed therapy myself, all the while giving up on pushing my legal case any further. Next, with the help of my friends and family, I did what I should have done immediately after what happened. I packed my bags, I moved back home to Tampa, and I went to individual and group therapy intensively week after week. Hi, my name's Teagan Alexander, and I was raped. I got better. I was healing, I was accepting, and despite how against therapy I was, that stuff actually works. And all the while, a group of gals back at school were planning Slutwalk Tallahassee. My therapist told me very sternly that she thought it was in my best interest if I didn't get involved. But I had been working with the movement in Tallahassee before I moved back home, before my breakdown. She didn't think I was ready to take it all on again, and as hard as it was for me to admit it, I really wasn't. So I moved back to Tallahassee for this spring semester, and I stayed away from Slutwalk like I should, until I got a text message asking me if I would speak at the rally, and I couldn't say no. My parents thought it was a huge mistake, and my therapist thought it was a mistake, and I didn't even know if it was a mistake, but I knew I had to do it. The plan was to read my speech, kick off the march, and leave. But then I was there, and I was holding the megaphone, and I saw these people crying as I spoke. There were hell yeahs and woohoos, just like before. But other than that, it wasn't like before at all. I didn't feel hollow or hurt as I was speaking. My dress is not a yes. The tight dress clinging to my body is not an invitation, a provocation, an indication. My tight dress is not an unspoken yes, and I meant it this time. I began to cry while I was talking, just as I had done in Slutwalk Tampa, but the tears weren't sad like before. They were happy tears because I was looking down at all these people who cared so much about Slutwalk just like I did. And they were thankful tears as I looked down and saw 3 of my greatest friends, 2 of which who are here today, smiling up at me, supporting me, there for me. And they were strong and feisty tears because for the first time, I really did feel like a survivor. The plan to leave after my speech, you better believe that didn't happen. I marched the whole way. I wasn't heading the rally with a megaphone and my fist in the air like last time, but I was there, and I was marching, and it felt great. And I nervously texted my mom as I marched. Decided to walk, don't be mad. Can't imagine how serene this feels. Her response was that she knew I was going to march. She knew that I cared way too much to just go home. If I had it my way, I would have never been raped. Obviously, I would have never wished to fall into depression. I would have much preferred to go on living my life without having to face the unexpected hardships that were thrown in my way. I would have loved to not have to experience the intense negativity that followed my assault, to never experience the intense self-hatred that I did. But I did, and I'm not the only one. Self-hate is evident in everyone, in all of you. To one degree or another, everyone has a lack of self-acceptance and a lack of self-love. Feelings of unworthiness are at the root of self-hate. We are frozen in unworthiness, often battering away at the stone with affirmations and behaviors to try and make ourselves feel better about ourselves. We exercise and diet, and we build careers. We seek power and fortune and fame. We buy makeup, we gel our hair, we spray cologne, all the while trying to hide the things that we dislike about who we really are at our core. If I could ask all of you to close your eyes for a moment. Visualize your biggest imperfection. Your biggest insecurity is standing right in front of you, staring you square in the face. Why is it that you feel so uncomfortable right now? Why do you feel so vulnerable in this moment? Now visualize the one person in this life that you love more than anything. Visualize the one person that you would do anything for. They're in front of you, and they're happy to see you, and they're smiling at you. Now try your hardest to imagine their biggest imperfection. Open your eyes. Why is it that it's so easy for us to recognize what we deem as flaws in ourselves, but so challenging to think of imperfections in people that we care about? When people look at you, they aren't as quick to zone in on all your imperfections as you think they are. Basically, people just don't really care about you as much as they think you do. When you walk into a room and you're so nervous that every single person is examining you head to toe, don't think that. Because you know what? Every single person in that room, in this room right now, is thinking the same exact thing. I'm not worried right now if you think my hair is too frizzy or my voice is too high-pitched. Because I know that each of you is probably too concerned with whether the person behind you can see above your giant head, or if the person sitting next to you thinks you have a little bit too much perfume on, or maybe not enough deodorant. It's so difficult to pick out our imperfections in the people we love, not because we're blind to them, but because whether consciously or not, we have already acknowledged, accepted, and embraced them. When we care for people, we embrace their flaws. Their imperfections are completely irrelevant to us. Isn't that a bit sad? That we can love other people so much that we don't care about their imperfections, but we don't love ourselves enough to do the same. Believe it or not, we are most appealing when we're being ourselves. Warts or moles or weird mouths or gapped teeth or dorkiness or clumsiness, it doesn't matter. There is real power and panache in knowing and embracing our shortcomings, our flaws, and ourselves. In some ways, being a perfect human being is reveling in imperfection. As humans, we're learners and adapters. We're creative and flexible, and that's what allows us to survive and thrive in our environments. And frankly, accepting those imperfections and not being afraid to show them in times makes you more endearing to others. To see someone who knows they might fail still push themselves forward to the possibility of failing is to watch a human being at their finest. To be imperfect is to learn and grow and develop and fail and succeed and try something new, try something that's never been done before, to create, love, and become yourself. There is something about learning to let go of perfection that allows you to really, truly, honestly begin living. It's to acknowledge and to share that you have weaknesses, and you know it, but also that you have strengths, and you will use those to go as far as you possibly can. It's not to worry too much about the things that hold you back. They will always be there, I promise you. It's to focus on the attributes that will take you where you want to go and then allow them to take you there. The joy of imperfection is knowing that who you are is enough, and in fact, it's perfect. Alice Walker once said that in nature, nothing is perfect and everything is perfect. Trees can be contorted or bent in weird ways, and they're still beautiful. And I think that is beautiful. It's really easy for me to stand up here and tell you that you should accept your imperfections. And it might even be easy for you to listen and think, yeah, I'm gonna do that. But it's a lot harder to actually step outside this room and do it. There isn't a magic pill or a step-by-step action plan, a pamphlet that I can give you to automatically love yourself, to be at peace with yourself. If it were that easy, I wouldn't be here. I wish it were. Unfortunately for me, it took a pretty traumatic experience to bring about my personal self-acceptance. Lucky for you, your journey to self-love doesn't have to be that dramatic. You have to recognize your imperfections on a deep and honest level. Don't just say that you hate your breath in the morning. Be real with yourself. What's been holding you back? What's been keeping you from getting exactly what you want? What about you makes you wish you were someone else? Talk to your support system, your friends, your families, your coworkers, your mentors. Discuss with them what you see in yourself that you aren't comfortable with, and they may be able to help you understand why and how to accept those things. Now get ready, because here's the call to action, the real challenge. Let it go. Let it go. The idea that you will one day be perfect, throw it away, and I promise you, in that moment, you will feel closer to perfection than ever before. Thank you.